It's November 7th, 2013. This is Pocket Gamer to show you what's new and noteworthy and exciting on the App Store this week, with hands-on impressions of all the new iPhone and iPad games. This week's top pick is Rayman Fiesta Run, the much anticipated follow-up to last year's terrific iOS autorunner Rayman Jungle Run. The idea is the same in this one. Limb-free hero Rayman runs all by himself, leaving you to jump and punch your way through these gorgeous hand-painted levels. The big change, aside from Rayman being able to swim and shrink this time, is the introduction of tough new boss stages and the fact that there's a much harder remix version of every level. So if you thought the first game was a walkover, you'll definitely be pleased this time around. Also, there are now new in-app purchases, so yes, there is a questionable boost system here where you can buy hearts and hints with in-game or real-world cash. You don't need them, but they might sour your experience of an otherwise super fun and super addictive platformer. Sorcery is the lovingly reimagined app version of Steve Jackson's ambitious choose-your-own-adventure book. It's all about making heavy decisions, fighting with a clever combat system, and marvelling at the ingenuity of Inkle's digital remake. Part 2 takes place in the walled city port of Kahir. Whatever it's called. It's an all-new location with buildings and sewers to explore. There are fresh gods and monsters, and there's a gambling game called Swindlestones. You can start the saga from here if you like, or you can import your character from the Gold Award-winning original. Have you ever wondered how Darth Vader paid for the Death Star? Well, according to this Tiny Tower reskin, the Sith Lord rented out one huge vertical column to a bunch of businesses and apartments and got the occupants to foot the bill. This is an ultra lightweight simulation where you build new levels, stock your shops with new goods, and even man the elevator. It's practically identical to Nimblebit's free-to-play Time Sync, but it now comes with Jawas and special Imperial rooms, and it's way more stingy with the bucks. Dwice is the latest game from Alexei Pajitnov, who has never quite managed to surpass his most famous creation, Tetris, though I did put more hours into Xbox Live's Hexic than I'd be comfortable admitting in this video. Dwice is not going to topple the Russian block dropper. It's all very simple. You just pick up circles and drag them into other circles and squares into other squares. It's time for this week's Endless Runner. This one comes from Everplay, who made 1001 Attempts and Spell Sword. This one's called Minor Problem. You are a tiny gem prospector who must quickly escape from his quarry when the roof begins to cave in. It is heavily inspired by Jetpack Joyride, right down to the special vehicles that crop up along your run. And while it is fun and it's as well engineered as any Everplay game, there's not much going on with it, and there's not enough to it to make me want to crawl through yet another set of minor upgrades. Arcade-style arena shooter Meltdown is one handsome little game, and it's got a great control scheme. You move by tapping, and things like shooting and taking cover are just handled automatically for you. That's nice. We haven't had a chance to try this feature out yet, but Meltdown's also got 4-player online co-op, which is cool, and that extra backup will certainly come in handy as the game gets pretty difficult pretty fast as you're overwhelmed by deadly robots. Octagon is the latest one of these rock-hard, abstract, super hexagon-inspired time sinks. but this one feels far less original than the others, so where Pivot and Impossible Road and Boson X and Expander all felt like completely fresh twists just on a familiar theme, Octagon feels all been there, done that. Like Boson X is an auto runner where you hop between platforms, like Project 88 you can flip gravity to land on the ceiling, like Super Hexagon it's named after a shape. Anyway, it's still quite good fun, but it does win 0 points for originality. Blocky Roads comes from Redline Rush maker Dogbite, and it is very unashamedly, brazenly based on Minecraft. From the chunky block world, to the inarticulate characters, to the infamous bloop sound effect for picking up materials, this is dangerously close to Mojang's game. But it's also not a randomly generated world builder, so lawyers keep away. It's actually a cute little side-scrolling car game about navigating jumps and cliffs. It's all about upgrading your vehicle to get farther in each course. Not bad. You know, I didn't think Apple even allowed developers to release iPhone games that aren't in widescreen anymore. Never mind, this tactical brawler is better suited to iPad anyway. You control a handful of monsters from Chinese mythology, then go on a rampage around town. Attacks are delivered with smart touchscreen gestures, and you'll have to juggle all your beasties to fend off the police and military. Haven't played much, but it's quite good so far. This charming children's game is all about styling the facial hair of the eccentric residents of some seaside town. It's a very simple game where you just try to trace your finger over a string of symbols as quickly as possible. There are obstacles to look out for, like giant cows who wander past to obscure your view and swinging anchors to avoid, but in general this game is probably too simple for anyone above the age of 5, as developer Hunted Cow itself suggests.
Oh!